Greetings, welcome, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to everybody. Thank you guys for joining the live stream. And if you're watching this on the recorded version, there will probably be some sort of a timetable or table of contents down below in the video description to eventually try and help you out throughout the discussion. Today is 20th of December 2016, exactly 5 years on this date, 5 years ago. We've celebrated the launch of our favorite current Star Wars, the only Star Wars MMO. I have with me here 4 guests, or as I would like to introduce them as 4 co-hosts, 4 special people who thankfully agreed to talk with me tonight. For them it's not tonight, but it doesn't really matter. And we will do our best to introduce the game to all of you, especially to those of you who haven't been around for all these 5 years. We will talk about the early days of the game. We will share good and bad memories because we know that this game has never been perfect and everyone has been at least once or twice disappointed with any of the patches that happened throughout these 5 years. We will share the good and the old memories. We will talk about what we hope to see in the future. We will explore some things that our physical in-game host, because we are going to spend some time in a stronghold properly decorated for Life Day. We will see some nice, cool wampus that attempted to eat me before the live stream started, but thankfully I'm a huge, big-ass Sith Lord, so I could run out. Anyway, I am saying hello, welcome, and thanks for joining to JT. Hey, JT.
Hey, Vulkk.
Moxy.
Hey, Vulkk.
Larry.
Hey, how's it going?
And Jess.
Hi, Vulkk.
The 5 of us are going to talk for about an hour tonight, and after that, I will have a very special unboxing. For that, let me see if I can show the webcam for a moment. And bring out the big guns, I mean the big box. Take a look at this thing. It makes interesting sound, but that would be for the end of the live show. This is actually a special present. I don't know if it's supposed to be a Christmas present or just you're a good friend of mine present from Jessie. Thank you very much, Jessie. I don't know what is it. I've waited for about 3 weeks and 2 days to have this thing here because it arrived from all the other corners of the world. And now, a very quick and brief introduction for my 4 co-hosts. JT, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I am currently from Curly Run Radio. I also help out with Passionately Casual podcast. I have been hanging around this game before launch, actually in open betas, and also helped out with Curly Run back in the day when they still had their own forums and stuff like that. So many years in this, and so happy to be here on this anniversary.
Fantastic. Moxy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I also am a part of Passionately Casual Podcast and Curling Run Radio, and been playing the game almost 5 years. I took a short break in there about 6 months where I did not play, but pretty much have enjoyed it all along and am looking forward to our talk here today.
Fantastic. Larry, tell us about your long history and experience with MMOs.
My long history and experience with them. I won't even go into that. I've been playing MMOs since 1999 or something along that line. But with Star Wars: The Old Republic specifically, I was in some of the early betas with that. I also covered Star Wars: I guess exclusively covered Star Wars: The Old Republic for Massively Overpowered. And yeah, that's been going on for what? 6.5 years, something along that line. I've been covering this game and been playing it also ever since. I have actually never unsubbed from this game, even for like an accidental glitch with the credit card or anything like that. So yeah, but an avid RPer as well as a raider in the game.
Oh, I'm gonna have a special moment to talk to you about role playing because
awesome.
I'm terrible at that, but we'll save that for later. Jessie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Jessie, and I also work on Passionately Casual podcast. And this is actually my first game that I've ever played. It's my first MMO, my first game other than Pac-Man, but I've been a Star Wars fan since, like literally, it's true. I'm not exaggerating. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a little kid. And so when I discovered that there was this game that you could get into and like play as a character in a really rich world, that was all I needed to hear. And so from that first moment, I have never unsubbed or spent any amount of time away from the game at all. I absolutely love it. It's a huge part of my life, and I'm really happy to be here.
Here is a first an interesting question. What was that everybody's first MMO? It actually comes from Antoine on the live stream chat, who blamed me for not having webcam because I haven't shaved. Yes, I haven't shaved, but that's not the reason for not having a webcam. It's because I can't really make 4 webcams available for tonight. That's why I'm not showing my ugly mug. So guys, we've already learned that Larry has played other MMOs around SWTOR. Jessie has never played anything else. What about you, JT? Have you played other MMOs, and which one were they?
Actually, my first MMO was Star Wars Galaxies. I got into that. I really loved that. Of course, then the dark times happened with the NGE and the combat thing that changed there. So I left that game after a while, after I seemed like the only one on my server. I left that game.
Kind of
and
like
was,
the Tomb of Freedom Nod here now, right?
Pretty
Or
much
maybe
about like that.
Prophecy of the Five.
Prophecy of Five, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I...
Moxie. Yeah, sorry.
Hold on.
Oh, my first game was EverQuest. Loved EverQuest. Loved death penalties. Loved difficult leveling. Loved challenges. Loved not being handheld through quests. So basically everything SWTOR is not. But I still love SWTOR.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, it's just
and
different.
thank you for joining us, Moxies. Have a great day.
Yeah, I know, right?
Salt
Well,
is
and
flowing
just
already.
saying there are definite things that are in the culture today, and it's a culture thing. It's not a game thing. The people wouldn't stay around in this day and age playing a game where you went backwards in your leveling, but it taught people to not be stupid. It taught people to pay attention to mechanics. It taught people to
Nobody stuck around. Nobody stuck around whenever you lost levels as Jedi either in Star Wars Galaxies. People
Right.
were like, I'm done with this," and then they left the game.
Yeah, it's but it made better players. The players and the community. Like you had to, there was no name changes. There was no transfer. Well, there was eventually, but at the beginning, you had to be very mindful of your reputation. You couldn't go around griefing people because nobody would group with you. You couldn't get a guild. So definitely a different environment. But yeah, so that was my first one, and then I've done others: EverQuest 2, World of Warcraft, Dark Age Camelot. So I played a lot of MMOs.
Oh, wow. You guys certainly beat me and Jessie. I do have some MMO experience, but it only extends as far as Star Wars Galaxies goes and Lord of the Rings Online. And I've played those for about 8 years combined. Alright, let's then jump and share what is your oldest memory. What do you remember when you first heard about the game? And how exactly did you guys hear about this game? Let's go in order. Just in case you don't know, guys, the overlay on the screen is JT, who is actually JT. Moxie is Moxie. Shadow, if you don't know him from Twitter, is Larry. Larry Everett from Massively OP. Stardust is probably all very well known because first, she's quite popular on Twitter. She never stops posting cute pictures with hearts on them. And she was a guest of mine for a previous special live stream show where we talked about strongholds. And then I don't know who's the last guy here. Has a Yoda face, but never mind. All right, so guys, let's start with JT. What was your earliest memory from Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Actually, it had to be the announcement. I believe it was E3, and all of a sudden Bioware's up on the stage, and then all these people in Jedi robes come down there, and just hearing about the announcement of what this game was going to be, because I love Knights of the Republic, and then knowing that they were going to bring another Star Wars MMO out, I was so excited about that. I would say that's probably my earliest memory of that, and that's what got me really excited about this game and followed it ever since.
What do you remember as earliest memory from the game, Ox?
Well, like just signing up for it. I wasn't quite as early as JT. I think I found out about it maybe a week or two out and was excited because it was just something new. I think at the time I was playing EverQuest 2 and was kind of on the hunt for something different to play, and loved the idea of Star Wars, doing something in the Star Wars world. I didn't play Star Wars Galaxies. I forget what my reasoning was at the time. I just wasn't something that really grabbed my attention. But loved the idea of being able to come in and play, as Sith or Jedi.
I don't think any of you guys has ever played Star Wars Galaxies, have you? Or maybe Larry has. I think we've spoken before, and
Yeah, I
you
have.
have played it.
Yeah,
you have
I
too.
played it extensively. Yeah, there's a couple of JT. Did you
Yeah.
play, or was it Mox? Yeah,
Yeah, I
JT.
played.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, I retract
I-
my statement.
Yeah, actually, speaking of Star Wars Galaxies, so you're talking about when we first heard about the old Star Wars: The Old Republic. I was actually in Star Wars Galaxies when I heard about it. I was helping run a fairly large roleplay website, and there was a bunch of rumors about. I first heard it as a rumor. It was a rumor of two rumors, in fact. It was one rumor was LucasArts was making a new MMO. Or no, wait. Yeah. That LucasArts was making a new MMO or new Star Wars game. Now I'm totally mixing up my facts. And LucasArts was making a game, and also Bioware was making a new Star Wars game. We heard both of those, and we kind of put them together as people on the website were putting that together. Like, oh, they're gonna make a KOTOR MMO. That's what's gonna happen. We know this is what's going to happen, and we started
That's
spreading
what
that rumor.
everybody was referring to. Yeah, nobody said Star Wars
Yeah.
MMO. Nobody said Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO because of the official name. Everybody spoke about the
Right.
KOTOR MMO.
Yeah, and somebody was it Gordon that leaked it. He was the GM for Bioware at the time. I think he accidentally leaked that they were working on a KOTOR MMO, and that's how it got. Yeah, so that's when I first heard about it, and then I think it was about 3 months later is when they actually announced it and opened up the website, and I had registered all my names that first day.
Oh, speaking of the opening the website, I remember, what was it, 24th September, I believe, 22nd September 2008.
Yeah.
I spent about 2 hours refreshing F5 like mad. Speaking with my guildies on Ventil, we were all doing the same, and the website refuses to load and start working so we can register there. As if you don't do that on the first 1 hour or 2 hours, you're screwed forever.
Yeah, and you've lost your names, you've lost. the
It was
names that
it
you
was
had, yeah.
actually very late in the night here in Europe, and we stayed very late. It was a cool experience, and I'll probably remember it for as long as I played this game. Do you happen, Larry, to remember when the first rumors appeared about LucasArts making a Star Wars MMO?
Yeah, that would have been. Let's see, the website launched in September, right? And it was GDC that year that somebody that it was leaked, and so that would
You
have
mean
been.
GDC, the event?
Yeah, it was during GDC that it was leaked, and I think that it would have been. Gosh, I want to say that was in January that year, or was it later? It was something like that. It was around the first quarter of the year.
I've always thought that I first heard about very unofficial rumors about the Star Wars MMO being developed in 2006. I mean, another one than Star Wars Galaxies. But then I could never find any kind of an official article, material, or even something printed, because back in 2006, printed magazines were still a thing.
Yeah. No, there was nothing really printed at that time. It was just kind of rumors that were floating around that that LucasArts was working on something, and that also that Bioware was working on something, and so those two were independent of each other, and I don't honestly remember how that was actually confirmed the first time. It might have been on like a website like Alakazam or something along that line. Right? You remember Alakazam, which eventually became Zam. But anyway,
I do.
Yeah. So I think it might have been on something along that line, and it just was kind of out there. And then people were putting those two together, even though there was no rumors that were putting them together. It wasn't until GDC of 2008 that there was actually something that was said.
Nice. And since I did the horrible thing of leaving our precious lady to be speaking last, I will try to compensate this by allowing her to tell us the story of this very special character. Where is it? Agent Onyxa. Hey Jessie, what is your first memory from Star Wars The Old Republic?
Well, I wasn't nearly as cool as everybody who knew about it before it was coming out.
You are our lady, so you are by default the coolest. We can ask the chat, everybody will confirm.
Well, my nephew was visiting me from out of state, and he brought his laptop with him. And every time that we weren't out, and I live in Los Angeles, and so there's really cool things to do, of course, in LA, especially for a teenager.
What's the address there?
And so we were going to Hollywood and going to Amoeba Records and going to Hollywood Boulevard and going to Santa Monica and doing all these really cool things. But whenever we'd come home, as soon as we came back in the door and opens up the laptop and starts playing. And I was like, what are you so obsessed with that, here we are in LA and you're doing this? And I walked around behind him. I still remember on the kitchen counter, he was sitting there playing right where I'm sitting now, actually. And I looked over his shoulder and he's on this Sith running through this kind of jungly looking place with this Twi'lek, this gorgeous blue Twi'lek running after him. I was like, oh, what's that? Who's that? I was looking at Vet and I was like, who is that? How can I play that? And he's like, oh, well, she's basically my slave. That's the way he saw it. And she follows me around and goes and does adventures with me. So I was like, okay. All right. And then I took him back to the airport. And on the way back from the airport, I stopped off at Best Buy and I bought Star Wars The Old Republic and I installed it by disc, which took forever and ever. It probably took a whole day to install it onto my slow computer. And I got the 30 days of sub or whatever that came with it. And I have never looked back. And that was in February of 2012. So a little bit, 2 months after launch. That's my very earliest memory. My earliest memory of playing was that I couldn't get out of the starting area because I didn't know how to operate an MMO. I don't even know how to play a game. So I read on the tooltip how you're supposed to use the W, S, A, and D. And I would take a couple of steps and I'd walk into the wall and I'd try to turn my body. And it was really choppy, like I was breakdancing. So those of you who think I can't raid, you should have seen me on day one. Okay. So yeah, that was my very first experience. And I made 2 characters within the first week. And one of them has been my main throughout. Her name's Sienna, and she's a smuggler. And she's got the Princess Leia buns and that classic Star Wars look and the Han Solo attitude. And then the other one was this agent that I'm on right now. And I know you wanted me to tell this whole story.
Wait. Before you tell the story, you actually deleted your main character? Wow.
Wow, my second to main character, because my main character is Sienna, and I never deleted her.
Well, but you are primarily a member of an Imperial guild, so we can count this as a main character.
No, but I wasn't back
then.
So
that's even the bigger crime.
I wasn't even in a guild. I didn't know what a guild was. I wasn't in a guild when I first made characters. I was just running around, and I just made some friends on Worlds, and then they taught me about guilds.
Tell us how good Bioware customer support is and what good thing they did. I will,
yes. This is a huge shout out to customer support, who I've always actually had very good experiences with. And this is another example. So somebody in our guild was talking about how he keeps a spreadsheet of all his characters and he deletes in case he ever wants to have them restored and what cool items were on them. I don't know. He's very obviously organized. And that got me to thinking about this character that I had deleted way back in 2012 because she's a sniper and she's pure DPS, and I found out by playing Sienna that I like to heal better. And so I wasn't playing her, and we only had however many character slots back then. I think it was 10 or something. And so I deleted one of my very first characters. So I remembered her name, and I remembered about when I deleted her and that she was an operative of some sort. And so I sent in a ticket, and she was on another server because we were on a tiny little server that got merged twice before we ended up on Harbinger, and for the forced merges, and they restored her for me. And I woke up this morning to find her like on my character login screen. And so I thought that was really cool. She was still wearing all her original armor, and I was still carrying trash in my inventory because I didn't know about throwing it away, like all of that. So that's really cool. It's really cool to have her back, and so that's why I'm on her today.
I almost wish that they did not change the stats on gear to be all mastery, because it'd be great to see how much, like, I don't know,
Strength, defense.
yeah, exactly, strength and defense you had on that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot about those days. Yes, we had items with totally mixed up stats that work for absolutely
Yeah.
nobody. Oh,
That's
goodness.
what I remember from leveling the first time through. My very first team was a Sith assassin, because I was like, oh, I can stealth and sneak by stuff, and I had such bad stat management, and I didn't understand the idea of being over or under leveled for a planet. Like, so you could stealth through all this stuff, but then eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't hit anything on the planet you get to. So
you
yeah, it was
actually under leveled on your first character? On purpose?
yeah, because I was
or-
stealth. I wasn't doing
Oh,
bonus
wow.
missions. I wasn't doing like
Yeah.
I was just getting through the planets, and I got up to like I don't want to say maybe Nar Shaddaa or whatever's after Nar Shaddaa, and all of a sudden everything's red, and you can't hit a thing. Plus I didn't have the right stats, so of course I'm doing like 12 damage or whatever, and yeah, so that was a big thing for me. Like a big learning curve was because I came from again more traditional MMOs where you wanted to have a little bit of everything. You're in say EverQuest, your wizards still needed to have a little bit of wisdom for some reason, whether it be a resistance or something. So they needed to have that, and so I thought, oh well, I need to have balanced stats. It's just a traditional thing to do, not everything in one pool.
Yeah,
said
when also
wisdom.
you ran into situations in the older game where you would have like agent armor that had defense on it for
Yes.
some reason or another. I got a few of those myself when I was.
Well, the
Um,
agent is a squishy class, man. They do need to protect themselves somehow. They're
Yes,
usually
right.
skinny,
Yes.
small guys, body type number 0.5 or something.
All right. Let's see.
Do you
Assault
guys
cannons
remember
with
the
cunning on them.
Jedi Wizard?
The Jedi Wizard.
Did you take?
Yeah.
Did you cast your vote in that famous poll with? I don't know.
I did.
I remember
did
it
cast
went
my-
up to 20 or
Instead of
30,000
Sage, yeah.
votes before they decided. Okay, we won't have a wizard in our game.
Oh, so did you vote for Sage over Wizard?
I
Vote?
don't actually remember what I voted for, but I was definitely
That
against
means
the
he
wizard.
voted. That means
I was
he
against the
voted
Wizard.
Wizard, folks.
No,
Ah,
oh, you're so mean.
I actually did vote Wizard, and because
Really?
it was, yeah, and for me it was more canon, for me to say Wizard versus Sage. I mean, Sage, obviously, I guess is a cooler name, but as far as canon is concerned, Wizard was more canon because they say it twice in the original. Well, not in the original, but in the canon films. They call Obi-Wan a wizard.
a wizard, yeah.
Yeah, and in the first movie, and then in the first prequel, who is it that says wizard? Somebody says wizard to Anakin, one of the kids.
Really? To Anakin?
Mhm.
Hmm,
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember.
They don't
that.
call Anakin a wizard, but they say that's wizard Anakin.
Is that in episode 1?
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's not a deleted scene.
it's not a deleted scene. Nope.
Oh, shame
It's
on
when
me.
they're working on the speeder.
I need to go and
Yeah,
rewatch that.
yeah.
I'll be back in 2 hours, guys.
All right.
Okay.
There's
I
also a
have
lot of
fun-
Senate talking in there too, in the trade negotiations.
Yeah.
So you'll
I
like
have
that.
I have this type of a question provoked from a chat line from Zentrax. What was your first class that you choose to play in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and why? Let's start with Jessie.
Smuggler, Han Solo. End of statement.
It's still
But
our
you're a
favorite
Lando
class.
fan girl now. We've proven that, didn't we?
I told
That's
you,
true.
a girl can have room in her heart for more than one pirate.
Okay, fine. Larry, what was your first and why?
Oh, okay. So this is a little bit of a difficult question to answer because my actual first one was in beta, and it was the Imperial Agent. Because I didn't think I would like that story. I thought it would be horrible, and I loved it. and then so I was going to make an agent as my main on live, but at the same time I wanted to have a character that I could run through the story really quickly and do end game stuff so I can cover some of the end game stuff that was going on. So I made a Sith Warrior, and that was actually my first one. So Sith Marauder was actually my very first class that I made on the live servers, and I ended up loving that one too. and actually I liked the gameplay of the Marauders, so I really stuck with the Marauders. In fact, I don't have as many Marauders and Sentinels as you do, Vulkk, but I do have quite a few of them. I think I have 4 or 5 of them.
You actually might have more than me. Is it just Marauders?
Oh, really?
5 Marauders? Holy crap.
Marauders or Sentinels, yeah.
Combined, okay, that's a little bit more acceptable. I think I have 5 as well. I haven't really counted them.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm making another one soon. So
Storks.
Okay, you win that round. Really?
Yeah, 9.
Is that your
On
first
Harbinger.
character?
On Harbinger. Well, it's
On
my
Harbinger.
first that I really identified
Wait.
with.
That's why you've deleted 12. You were in
Right.
fight with someone who had 8 sorcerers, right? And you needed to have more.
Casualties happen.
There we go.
No. I love the Sork. As far as gameplay, I love the story's fantastic. I enjoy actually all aspects. Like if I'm going to heal, I prefer healing on a Sork. I'm not a big healer, but that's if I do. I love their overall utility.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
I like tanking on my Marauder, but that's usually by accident.
I think it's a rule for pugging. If you don't tank on a Marauder when you are pugging, you're not playing the class
You're
right.
doing it wrong. Yeah, that's right.
You're doing it wrong.
You're
You're doing SWTOR wrong.
Yeah, JT, what was your first character, and why?
Well, actually, Star Wars Galaxy, I was really into playing the non-Force users, and so I had that in my mindset I was going to do that. Well, so when I got in beta, I was like, I'm going to do the Jedi Knight because I know I'm probably not going to play that very much. And then I got to the iconic scene there at the Forge where you're creating your lightsaber and you lift it over your head, because that was before, you had legacy and weapon unlocks. So you didn't already have the lightsaber before you actually got to the Forge. So once I saw that, that was actually my first tune I created. When it went live, I actually created Jedi Knight. But then I got back into saying, hey, the game really doesn't like melee, so I'm going to range and go pew pew and everything like that. So but Jedi Knight was my first one.
QP always wins. And for the sake of completing this for the 5 of us, I'm going to quickly briefly mention what and why was my first, although I've said that multiple times, but maybe not everybody has been around following my channel for long enough. I've started Trooper on the beta because I can't really remember why. I wanted to play a Trooper, but then I didn't want to spoil the story for myself. And when I got the invite and installed the game, I decided, oh, hell of it. I'll get some early experience and I'll know the class better than anybody else on the live server. I loved the Trooper. I believe my highest level before the live servers went up was 30 something. So I didn't actually go too high. And on day 1, when I actually got to log in on the live server and play, for some reason I decided to go with the Sentinel. And you guys know that Sentinel has forever been my main character. I didn't give up in 3.0 when it was the disastrous era, or 1 year for the Sentinel and Marauder. I've always loved the melee classes, and that's what I've primarily been playing in my previous 2 MMOs, Star Wars Galaxies and Lord of the Rings Online. Actually, yeah, I've just remembered. I played 5 years Star Wars Galaxies, and I played the Jedi Knight main. Although I had a few other alts, but I really played a lot of Jedi Knight, both light side and dark side, and I was really getting tired of the glow stick gameplay, and I wanted something different, so I've decided I will make my main a Commando in Star Wars The Old Republic. Plus, who doesn't love the BFG? I don't think such a person exists.
I can't
Mox
stand
does.
the BFG.
You what?
I know, right?
hate that I wish that troopers. I'd play trooper more if they all could play with a blaster rifle instead of that dumb gun.
Oh, so you're actually...
I would play bounty hunter if I could carry a BFG.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's polarizing.
Do you guys remember there was a very old thread on the old forums? I'm not sure if it still exists or maybe it was wiped out. The trooper rules. Before the release of the game, people were posting typical things a trooper would do and typical things for other classes as well. But the trooper one was most fun because when you're light side trooper, you are all like the military type of player. When you decide to go the dark side trooper, that's again before the release of the game, so nobody actually knew what the trooper is really and what kind of story it will be thrown into. So everybody was guessing what kind of a trooper they would be and what things the trooper would do and say in the dialogues, and pretty much every second suggestion there, every second quote about the trooper involved the big fucking gun.
Yeah. It was also the trooper, which was really funny because I talked to Charles Boyd about it multiple times, and he, by the way, wrote the trooper for those who don't know. There was a lot of people that were saying that there was pretty much, it was just Mass Effect, just in MMO form. That's what the trooper was all about. And what's really funny is there was quite a few parallels between the two different stories, but they weren't the same at all. And I didn't find them the same at all. I mean, the dark side trooper was not anywhere near what, Renegade Shepard was. And I just found that hilarious that people constantly compared the two stories together.
Shepard, you mean from Mass Effect?
From Mass Effect, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There was people that would constantly compare the Trooper story to the Mass Effect story, which Charles Boyd adamantly says that there's no correlation between the two, except the voice actor for the female Trooper is the same as female Shepard. That's it.
Yeah. I think that was a big incentive for a lot of players, fans of Bioware, to start actually playing a Trooper.
Yeah, I do. I think Jennifer Hale was a big draw for that class in the first place. That's the reason why I made a Trooper at all, because my Trooper's a female Trooper, and I actually never made another one. But because her voice acting is phenomenal.
Now I have a specific... Yeah.
Do you guys think it's a miss by BioWare to not have true mirrored classes, like have a Republic Sniper, to have a Imperial Trooper?
I think I don't necessarily think it was a miss to not have completely mirrored characters, but I do think it was a miss, for instance, not to have an Imperial Trooper, because I think that would have made a very interesting story, or I guess a Republic Sniper or something along that line, because I think the story opportunities there were missed, and because it's very, after the initial chapters and after the vanilla game, the game turns very force centric, and I think having another class out there that is not force centric would have maybe balanced it a little bit better towards the end game, so it's not all about the force.
I haven't played Macabre recently, but I don't have memories for the force classes to have a more important role there. Do you include Macabre as well?
That would
because
be. I
you're
guess
absolutely
that
right
would be the only.
about KOTFI, KOTET, and Revan. Those three, no doubt. But Macabre, I don't really remember.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, Macabre was kind of neutral. I'll give you that one. There wasn't really a force-centric pull. Yeah, but generally speaking, it's Shadow of Revan and KOTFI and KOTET were. I said that just for Jessie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Which one is that?
KOTET.
An inside joke. Explain, please.
Oh, you don't know this inside joke, Jessie? Why
No, I
don't you
don't think
explain
so.
what this inside joke means?
Oh no, Larry, you're doing a great job.
No.
Go ahead.
There is a feminine hygiene product that sounds very similar to KOTET. And yeah.
And Jessie has tried her hardest to get everybody to say Eternal Throne, and yet It has failed. I'm sorry, Jess.
I mean, I tried to trend the hashtag Eternal Throne. Nobody was having it. Yeah.
I do use the hashtag Eternal Throne when I have something to say about the new expansion, because KOTET is not popular. But I don't really know what that product is, but I'll definitely do a quick research after the show so we don't force Jessie to leave us and run away.
We could say it. It's Kotex is what it's called. It ends with an X.
Okay, since you've said it, what is it for?
Well, now
Let's just
Larry, go ahead.
It's a pad.
I don't have a red dot with 18, so please be careful.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a problem. No, it's for when a woman's on their period. It's one of those.
This is getting awesome.
I know.
This is not what I was
actually
expecting.
explained it very polite and very normally.
Anyway,
that was not on the bingo card. I can guarantee.
Those last 5 minutes never happened. If anybody feels strong with the force right now, do a force wave. I mean the hand wave, not the force wave. And let's pretend this never happened. Okay, now I have a question for you guys, and it's on the sad side about the game. What is your worst memory from Star Wars The Old Republic? We've all played it more than long enough, and to spice it up, what was the worst patch that you remember? When Bioware ruined your favorite place, your favorite instance, your favorite class, or something else?
The fact that they let the Ravagers exploit go on for as long as it did, and then took such harsh action against the people that partook in it.
There we go. This has actually been a very controversial topic, and I really don't understand the people who support Bioware. I mean, it's obvious that nobody should be allowed to exploit, but then you go on a holiday for nearly a month, and then you complain about people playing the game the way you allow them to? That was really weird. And so many
I'm not upset that the fact, from my understanding, they knew about the exploit in the beta. They let it go live, and then they didn't say anything. They could have simply put out a Twitter. Like, somebody could have logged into their Twitter account from home on vacation and said, you know, hey, we're aware of this. Anything from this point forward is going to be subject to action. And that would have stemmed it wouldn't have stopped it, because people would probably say, oh, well, they can't do anything, but it would have stemmed the tide of and the numbers and the overall effect of it on the game. To me, it's kind of a black eye in Bioware.
To me personally, I don't believe social networks and social accounts are a good place to announce things like that. It should be on the launcher. Just poking your eyes when you try to start up the game. They should warn you, just like they warn you with the maintenance. Let me guys stop you for a moment. I do like to provoke you guys from the live chat. Do share your worst memory, because the next question obviously is going to be the best memory that you keep from Star Wars The Old Republic. So please share with us that, even though I don't display chat at the moment. I would like to be able to read all of your precious and most disastrous moments that you've experienced with the game. And I do like what Matthew just posted. Worst memory was having to gear up passengers. And before he corrected that with followers, which I believe is to be companions, I actually thought for a moment he means pug members, or just passing by temporary guild members, you know. There are unfortunately those folks who join a guild just for the temporary benefit of leveling up or getting the goods and then leaving and never coming back.
I think the politically correct term for them is baggage.
That's the politically correct term.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with Jessie, who I believe will have a harder time, but that's why I'm asking her first. What is your worst memory about the game, Jessie?
I can't say that there was any patch or any content
maybe sad, maybe not worst, but sad, just sad memory.
Well,
could be involving story if you want.
Well, I do have a worse memory. It's just not well, it's kind of Bioware's fault, but it's not really Bioware's fault, which was they have this thing on the GTN where the decimals don't line up right. And so if you're not really careful with sorting your prices, you can get completely like ripped off and destroyed. And I I had gotten something valuable and sold something, and I actually had 3 million credits, which was a lot of money back then, and it was the first time I'd ever had that much money. And then I was trying to do some crafting, and I was buying a crafting mat off the GTN, and I clicked it, and it didn't sort by price the way it was supposed to. And I clicked it again, and it was sorted, and then I bought the thing, and then I realized I had spent like 3 million credits for this one crafting mat because somebody was doing that just for, just to take advantage of people like me. And I was really disappointed, first of all, that continues to go on, and that they won't correct the way that they line their decimals up, like normal numbers are lined up so that it's easy to spot. And second of all, that they don't take action against accounts that are clearly just out there trying to rob people. So that was my worst memory of the game. But my saddest memory of the game, I don't want to talk about too much because it involves the most recent expansion that's still pretty fresh. But
is it chapter 8?
To get real.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, yes. Things are starting to get pretty real in the story, and some real consequences like they promised us. And so I had some tears for sure over chapter 8.
Oh yeah.
All right. What about you, Larry? What's the worst moment you remember, or don't want to remember?
And just pick that one. I don't want to remember. Yeah, just pick one. Actually, I think the worst thing for me isn't really tied to a singular moment, but it was more of a choice that was made by Bioware that continues actually today, to be frank, that is a little disappointing to me. It has to do with the way that they've handled their cash shop versus their in-game economy. So, and because everybody obviously, if they played the game for the last year, knows that every time they released a new chapter, they released a new cartel pack, and they also at the same time started releasing platinum items on those cartel packs, and then at the same time stopped releasing bronze items, so everything became more rare. And there was a paradigm shift in the economy where and also at the same time they did the heroics thing where you can get 1 million credits in an hour. So the economy just like polarized, and it just really killed a lot of the fun that I was having on the GTN. I didn't spend, I make quite a bit of money on the GTN, but I'm not nearly the richest person. And I like to buy outfits and clothes and mounts and those kinds of things and use them for myself. And it annoys me that now I have to spend, in the $30 million range to get some of the armor that I like. And this is off the new pack, not off the old packs. The old pack, if I want to spend money, I've got to spend, hundreds of millions of credits in order to get the armor that I like. And so that kind of that annoys me a bit, and that has to do with BioWare's releasing a whole bunch of different packs. Has to do with them not throttling the economy in some fashion. And
do you think the changes made with 5.0 in terms of removing commendations and making everything cost credits, do you think that's a step in the right direction? I've had a discussion about that on my previous live stream, and someone said that it's not visible yet, as if right now it's not really clear why BioWare did that. It hasn't shown any effect. I believe it's not supposed to show effect on the first or second week. It will be weeks and maybe months before the economy attempts to begin stabilizing.
Yeah, I have to wonder if I think that is a good idea, what they're doing as far as being able creating these credit sinks and things along that line. It's yet to be determined whether or not those credit sinks are actually in the right places. Because on top of that are those credit sinks just going to further distance the newer players from the veteran players as far as or should I say the players with less money versus those with more money? Is it going to polarize them more? Because the veteran players, do they really care about spending all that money? Because they probably already have all that stuff. So that's kind of the things that that are yet to be determined. In fact, I kind of want to talk to SWTOR Economics about this kind of thing and what he perceives is going to be some of the issues that's going to pop up because of the new credit sinks and how the whole economy was. There were some issues with the whole economy because of that.
Okay, we actually have so far two answers kind of similar to each other, both related to the GTN, not really the same issue. Let's see, Moxie, what's your worst memory about the game?
Oh, I thought I already chimed in. I would say the Ravagers is probably my worst memory, and then
you mentioned it, but expand on it, please. Is it just the exploit that annoys you?
No, it was Bioware's lack of response and then over response. It was like a 2-tier thing. Like they said nothing for a month, and then all of a sudden came down and like basically castigated all these people that took part in something that they should have fixed or should have prevented from occurring or something. Very similar to, but they had a quicker response in with the Galactic Command thing with the planets. They said, well, this is gonna, don't do this, you're gonna get, otherwise it'll be an exploit. But they could have, and they did end up turning off the planetary command button. So they had a simple fix for it. Why didn't they do something like that with Ravagers? And maybe it was more of a lesson learned kind of thing.
Now, let me ask you a sub-question then. Do you believe if they actually posted something with big red flashing letters on the launcher, do you think that would have prevented the amount of exploiters?
Yes, absolutely. I think there still would have been people who still
narrow them down
did it,
to just the most bold people that don't really care what's going to follow?
Exactly.
Because back then, that was about 2 years ago, right? It was the winter of 2014, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Yep, and I had a feeling back then that about 60-70% of the population was doing that, regardless of the fact that they may have never been raiding before and they may have never stepped a foot inside Flashpoint even, but everybody was joining for that because it's free gear and nobody ever alerted them, alarmed them, or forbidden them. Hey, don't do that, you will suffer consequences after that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
always been. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I took part in it, and I paid a price for it, and because of it, and that I can say that probably is coloring my opinion of it, but I don't think to the extent that it that I still I think it just was like I said, a black eye. I think that Bioware should have stepped in much sooner to prevent. I know if they had said much sooner that look, there's going to be some ramifications here if you keep doing it, that I certainly would not have continued.
What about you, JT?
Go ahead. Regarding
Larry.
that though, I would wonder though, because I've been playing MMOs for a while, so it's obvious when you looked at that, this was clearly an exploit. So, I'm curious from a player's perspective who did it. I didn't do it. Because I never raided for gear. I raided for the raid itself, and so getting the gear wasn't really, it was secondary to me. So I never did it. Not saying that I wouldn't. Not saying I blame people for taking part in the exploit, but I do wonder were you thinking that there wasn't going to be consequences? Were people just?
I think
everybody else was doing it.
Right, but I think obviously Bioware had to be aware of it. They had to be aware that people were doing it. So why wouldn't they have spoken up sooner and said something that this is a serious issue?
No, so people were just under the impression that Bioware hasn't done anything about it now or hasn't said anything about it, so they're just probably never going to do anything about it.
Right.
Okay.
And it's so widespread. Like how could they possibly take such action against such a large percentage of their player base?
For the sake of being honest, we should probably state one more time that nobody of us here is defending the exploits or the exploiters. It's just that Bioware didn't behave the way they should have as game developer. That's the only thing that we're disputing here and arguing about. Nobody wants exploits in the game. Nobody supports the exploit. Right. Just a quick question. Why are you repairing me, Jesse? There is nothing broken with me.
Are you sure? You sure there's
sure?
nothing broken? You're sure.
Look at me.
You are.
There are
you
some
are
annoying
missing a shirt.
snowflakes. Okay, give me a shirt then. Okay.
Your shirt seems to be a little broken.
Is that my stream chat that you're watching on the tablet? Oh no.
I think the
Yeah,
Wampa got
that's right.
his shirt.
Those are the plans for the Death Star. Get her! Get her!
No.
She's a traitor.
She stole them.
Okay, JT, tell us about your worst memory from the game.
The worst memory. Well, I happen to have a ship right now that if somebody wants to buy that, I'm take along from Mox from a Curly and Run show. I have a ship that's not doing really anything at all in the game, but actually, I would say, and that's not the worst thing. But
you got a ship. Wait, is it your freighter ship or is it your starfighter ship? Because if it's your starfighters, I have like 5 of them that aren't doing anything right now.
Right.
No,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was
actually,
interrupted.
no, that's fine. Starfighter I use more than I use my regular class ship, I guess. But actually, the one thing I would have to admit, I actually thought the hard mode priority were one of the direction that I don't think Bioware flushed out, because I still think they have trouble understanding the MMO player. The MMO player is going to take the path of least resistance because it's a means to an end. So if I can get the best gear by running hard mode KP or hard mode EV, guess what? I'm going to get me a whole entire set of 224 gear. And guess what? I'm going to flick right after that. I'm going to bring in an alt and run it again with my same group. So I think that is, and I think the reaction as what we ended up right now with is like, wait, we've got way too much gear going out. We need to slow that down. And I think they swung the opposite direction now, but that's just me.
I might or might not have taken part in doing the KP and EV runs like that. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I felt dirty originally, and then it's like,
right.
I know, and it's like, because I am nowhere near a nightmare.
My guild actually quit because of that. They my raid group, and which was pretty much my guild for the most part, quit the game because it was just so boring, and there seemed to be no real reason to do raids. I mean, if you can get all of the good gear and whatnot from EV and KP, which were the most boring at the time, raids to run, why do it at all? Why raid at all?
I faded away for a moment. Something happened with my internet, but I believe both the stream and Discord should be fine. And I wanted to ask quickly a question to JT. Why are you not a Nightmare player? You never cared about that? You never wanted, or you didn't have time? That's probably coming a little bit late, but again, when I asked you, apparently I was offline, so you didn't hear me.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Actually, for me, I know that some of the limitations with, like physically, I don't know if many people know this. I've been actually in a wheelchair, so some of the physical limitations I have, I know that I am not at that level. I mean, I know what to do. It's just, with my limitations, with lack of finger use, that I'm just not going to be able to get out of stupid fast enough. So I don't, and so for me, I know my limitations. I know that I'm not that level of it, but it's not the fact of I want to. But then in turn, I don't think I should just deserve the gear of that level of gear just because I walk into an operation I can jump around and get it. So.
Yeah, I have to say, I know JT personally, we live a couple hours from each other. We spend time together. We've, played during Extra Life Day in the same room together. Given what he has as limitations, he is an amazing player. Probably the best player that I know, given what he has to work with.
I must admit, I've always loved the wheelchair as it is drawn or displayed on those funky thumbnails that you guys have for each episode of the show.
Thank you.
That's Jessie.
Who's actually making them? Is it you, Jessie?
Yes.
Nice. Is it actually the real wheelchair?
What's that?
Is that wheelchair the same one visually and mechanically as it is in real life? Because it looks
No.
very
I think that's
advanced.
Professor X's wheelchair.
Yeah, Professor X's. Which I wish I had that. That would be kind of cool.
That's amazing. You have an amazing wheelchair there, Jake.
I wish that was mine, right?
And now that we're on the topic, I must blame you. Dropped the ball with the thumbnail on the 27th episode. It was what, just a picture of a character from in-game?
Oh, wow.
Really, Jessie?
You mean, wow. You're really going to put it out there like that, huh?
Just straight out
What's the
there.
issue? I guess I don't understand.
Apparently, I don't enjoy your company, and I'm trying everything in my power to force you away.
Haven't you ever seen those memes with George Takei saying, "Oh my"? That's what that was a play on. And that's
I've
why
actually
I had my
watched
character.
yesterday the episode with George Takei when he appeared in The Big Bang Theory, saying exactly the same line. Oh my!
Well,
There
that's
you
what
go.
that's from. Wow. Okay. All right. That's fine.
Okay, that's another
fine.
moment that never happened. Thankfully,
Right,
we're
right.
live, so
How come all the moments that
So-
never happened are involving me today? I'm
Right.
just sitting over here all innocent.
yeah, we don't see
Repairing-
that, so who knows?
I actually wanted to take it to go back in time just for a minute. JT mentioned about a ship not being used. That's another sad thing about the game. I think travel has become far too easy in this game. The wonder and the expanse of the universe has been lost by not making people drive to places on the planets and to the planets.
I would be totally on board with you if there was actually wonder and expanse to the planets,
Ooh,
but there
well-
really isn't.
Well played.
You don't think that Alderaan is beautiful and that like Yavin 4 is phenomenal?
You know, there is
It's-
a special thing with Alderaan. Every time I level a character, I land on Alderaan and I'm in love with the environment. I enjoy the mounts because they're unique and special. And some 15 to 20
music.
minutes later, I hate the place and I want to get out. I'm
I
not
feel
really
that way
sure what's
about
wrong.
Hoth.
Maybe my mind is telling you, get out before they explode it or something else.
Something back in
I-
mind. Get away.
I
get away.
think that okay. So the world designers, the environmental designers of Tor, did a really good job of creating a unique space in an MMO. I think that they did a good job there. I mean, if you look at some of the previous MMOs, even like Star Wars Galaxies and EverQuest, was pretty much just copy pasta over a couple of expanses of land. Like if you go to Tatooine in Star Wars Galaxies, if you go to the EMU and check that out and see what that Tatooine looks like, and then go to Star Wars: The Old Republic's Tatooine and see what that looks like, there is such a huge difference. And I don't mean just like in graphic fidelity, I mean in design itself. And if you can consider that architecture of the world is so much different and so much better in Tor. So I do think that they have done a really good job at it, and that it looks really nice. I mean, like you said, Alderaan looks really, really nice, and even Tatooine and Hoth, and except for when they did the graphical upgrade that kind of ruined Hoth. But but yeah, it was all really, really nice looking. And so the issue that I have with it just doesn't seem to be enough of it, and there's not enough little Easter eggs to find throughout the land. There's no reason to explore is really what it boils down to.
Well, like I
Some
would have
4 years
loved.
ago. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I would have loved that I could go to get my grade 10 mats, like on Nathema, or somewhere that I could search and do a daily area to actually get mats there, instead of wait for the grade 9 mats to be farmed on Zakul, so I get grade 10 mats. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think if I had to go to Nathema on the daily, I would be like, kill myself. So depressing.
Yeah, but
I know
I
Sechari
there.
wasn't able to be present with us tonight, but I'm going to honor him by speaking of Nathema and mention that
Oh.
it is. Yes, Nathema is one of my favorite planets, and unfortunately, we did not get enough of the exterior from Nathema. I really loved the interior. It was all destruction, very nicely done, perfect interior. Everything really spoken of that place. But the time we spent outside felt like I was playing a game from 10 years ago. This
Right.
game is actually from 10 years ago because the engine is that old. The design, the technical part of the game is probably more than 10 years old. But still, the outside of the planet was kind of disappointing, especially comparing to the design of the previous place we got to visit in Eternal Throne, Jessie.
Yes.
All right.
So, so as far as Nathema is concerned, though, I actually like the design of Nathema. Now, in this is coming from a lore junkie, and not necessarily everybody who plays Star Wars: The Old Republic understands the actual depth of history of Nathema. Nathema is where Vishit and Valkorion was born. He was born on that planet, and he was a bastard child of one of the lords there. He was born to a servant farmer who actually I thought was maybe she was married to somebody else, but I'm not sure. But so it was, yeah. So he was born there, and he actually ended up becoming the lord of that under Marka Ragnos, who was one of the Dark Lords of the Sith. He became a lord of. He renamed the planet to Nathema, and became the lord of that planet, and then got a bunch of zealots together, people who were really adored. I guess he went. Did he go by Vishit then? I think he went by Vishit then. Adored Vishit, and decided that what we're going to increase my power and make me more powerful. And so what he did is he sucked the life force out of all of his followers. I forget, it was 1,000 followers or something along that line. And at the same time, he wiped the planet clean of all life and all force. No force. And so therefore, that's why Nathema looks the way it does, is because it's dead. It is a dead planet.
Now let me ask you then a specific question, which might actually you've already answered, but I'm borrowing Fat Potato's comment from the chat, and I'm going to ask you specifically, Larry, which is your favorite planet? And since you spoke about, Nathema for a little bit now, is that actually your favorite planet? And which one would it be from the role-playing perspective? As in, have you actually taken physical place with your guild, with your group, and do real role play outside in the open world in the game?
Yeah.
Which planet is the best for that? To provide best background story or something else?
So my answer is actually, the first part of my answer to that, my favorite planet of all was Zyast. I actually wanted Zyast in the game from the very beginning because it used to be the home world. It was the home world of the Sith Empire before
I was hoping you were going to say Zyast.
Yeah. Zyast was Zyast was the old Empire's Dromund Kaas. So I really had wished that it was brought into the game before that little expansion update thing that they did. That it would have been more impactful whenever the thing that happened to Zyast happened. So at any rate, but as far as roleplay is concerned, one of my favorite planets actually to do events and things along that line on is actually Nar Shaddaa. And it's not because of the Slippery Slopes Cantina, which is, clearly just like a hub that people can go to, or even the promenade itself. But if you actually explore Nar Shaddaa in different under different factions, there's actually that there's an Imperial base on Nar Shaddaa that as an Imperial you can get to. It's actually a Republic place where they do quests. It's one of the side quests, the expanded quests for the Republic. But as an Imperial, you can get there and use it as an Imperial base.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bonus series. Yeah. as an Imperial, you can go to that place and use it as a base because it's perfect. I mean, it's got everything that a base needed, and it's I use it all the time as like an Imperial prison for a venue. And there's also places where we've had like there's like a stairwell kind of place that's in a very similar area as that base that we've had a bunch of like what Radio Free does. We used to do that before Radio Free did it, and we would do it in one of those stairwells, and we didn't do it nearly as often as Radio Free did. And that was a really great looking place because it was kind of tight. It looked like an underground dance club, like an underground dance club. It was really, really cool as far as that was concerned. There's another place that's kind of that actually they closed it off. It no longer exists in game, and it really annoyed the heck out of me. We used to have a fight club on Nar Shaddaa, where there was this area. It was like in a lab on Nar Shaddaa that had a lower level and then an upper level that you actually entered on the upper level, and you could actually gather around on this upper level and look down on everything in the middle, and you had a fighting arena. It was great, and they closed it off. You can no longer get there.
What do you mean closed it off? I don't remember that. Maybe because I've never really paid attention to that spot.
It was. I don't know how to tell you.
But it's not accessible?
Yeah, it's not accessible anymore. You can't get to it.
Any reason? Why?
It used to be. I don't know. I have no idea.
Usually
why
they close spaces that were accessible because of an exploit or because people were transferring from one area to another, just using these outside of the open game world places that you're not actually supposed to be able to reach.
And speaking of that, though, there is a really, really cool place on Belsavis that SWTOR Central actually got to that you can use to roleplay. That is amazing, and nobody's ever there. Where you can actually have like huge fights and RP PvP that could just be amazing if you wanted to do it, because it's the old Section X area.
Is that the alarm for passing the 1 hour?
Yeah, yes, that's what that is. It's the old Section X area. Before Section X was Section X that we know it, it was actually a part of Belsavis. And you can actually still get there. And if you go into it, it's all open. It's got a Republic base, it's got an Imperial base, and it's got a bunch of different areas in it that are just kind of looks like Section X, except it's accessible through Belsavis, so there's no NPCs there, nothing. And it would if you go to SWTOR Central's what do they call it? I forget what he calls it. But when they were exploring the different areas, trying to get to places they shouldn't go, and if you look at the Belsavis one, he goes there, and it's pretty awesome.
You've mentioned 3 planets so far, right? Which one is the favorite one? Is it Ziost?
So Nar Shaddaa is my favorite. The one that I like the most is Ziost. My favorite for RP is Nar Shaddaa.
Oh, nice. And will you actually be talking about that place, maybe, hopefully, in the future? Because I've already heard your first mini episode, the part of Passionately Casual 27th. And since I'm a complete noob when it comes to role-playing, I'm really, really looking forward for you to be teaching me how this is done and how actually role-playing is supposed to be done in Star Wars The Old Republic. I don't even have... Yeah. I probably have people that I know that are role-players, but I don't speak to them often enough to know how exactly this is done. And it's really something that I will probably never do myself, just like Stronghold decoration, but I love watching and listening what others are doing.
Yeah, I will definitely be covering how the roleplay 101 kind of stuff, like roleplaying in Star Wars The Old Republic 101, and teaching people how to do the basics of it. Although, like I've said on the Passionately Casual podcast, if you're looking to learn how to role play and you don't want to wait around for my stuff to come out, the Human Floyd, he has his is all based in ESO, or mostly based in ESO, but it's absolutely applicable to Star Wars: The Old Republic as well.
What kind of content is that? Video, website, articles?
It's video. It's
blog?
I'm sorry, it's on YouTube. The Human Floyd on YouTube.
Okay. I've never heard, but since I don't play that
Yeah.
game, it's probably normal that I haven't heard.
Yeah, he's a role player. If you don't know, if you're not a role player, you probably haven't heard of him. But he's got really, really great content as far as teaching people how to role play. And he doesn't necessarily teach you how to get involved in role play, but he does teach you the basics of how to do it in general, like the do's and don'ts of it.
Right. I do have two major, very trivial questions for all of you guys. Obviously, the first one is going to be your favorite moment from the game, and we will finish with the most boring one probably, but I would rely on your help to help me make the answers interesting. Why are we playing this game still? Because I know the negativity is prevailing since the changes in 5.0. We know that mostly the voices of the negatively oriented people are prevailing on forums and Reddit and everywhere else. But before that, two simpler and quick questions. First, that's from an hour before, but I just saw it. What's the deal with the cooking blog, Jess? Are you teaching us how to make those famous Leia cookies?
Where's that coming from?
Moxys posted it on my Discord here an hour ago. I just saw it.
Oh,
Go on.
no,
I'm actually really interested. Is it Star Wars related?
It is.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yes, I cook. I cook, and recently I've been doing some baking, which is kind of new for me. And I wanted to adapt recipes, to make them sort of my own. Some of them are original recipes and some of them are adapted from other sites and then tweaked and modified the way that I think that they're better. But then they all have a Star Wars theme. So for example, like if it's lemon squares, it's like Lando's lemon squares. And then I put my silly pictures together and combine Star Wars elements with pictures of food, like getting my two favorite passions together, which is basically sweets.
You need to tell them the name, Jess.
Oh, tell them the name.
It's Pie Fighter.
Pie Fighter.
Pie Fighter. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Piefighter.com.
Okay, so please tell me you have Wookiee cookies in there.
No, not yet. Not yet.
That's on your list.
Here is another question. Definitely, and send it to me on Twitter, please, so I can add it in the video description. I will try to collect all of the useful links that you guys appear as in podcasts, websites, personal blogs, Twitters, and everything you want to share. I will put it down in the description because you are some of the most valuable community members that I rely on, and I'm glad to know you. Even though we are not at the end of the show, I'm still rushing to say these things. Now, let me ask you a quick, simple question coming from Adam. For a new or returning player, do you recommend using the free character boost or leveling from level 1? This is more modern question. It doesn't have much to do with the anniversary, but it's a very popular one, and I personally have answered that in multiple forms, multiple times for the last 1.5 years. Let's go quickly in order. What do you say, JT?
This is a brand new character, right? Brand new
Returning player.
Returning player.
New or returning player, should they use a token or start from 1?
If you're a new player, definitely start at level 1. Take in the beginning planets. There's a lot of great lore and stuff you can find, different codex entries, a lot of great characters you can find along the way that you can chat with as you create those characters. Definitely for a returning player, depending on how far you've gotten and which expansions you played, actually a token may not be that bad to get in. You can always go back now with your character. I know that you may not be able to go and do your class stories and stuff like that, but you can still go back and on a 60 token, you can still go back and do all this Shadow of Revan and different things like that. You can try and do that stuff. And so you can still be a part of all that stuff that may have you missed a couple expansions like that. So I think there's a room for both of those options, but definitely if you're a brand new player, I would suggest the starting at level 1.
What about you, Mox?
I would agree with JT for the most part. Level 1 for any new class that you're starting. If you're returning to a class that you've previously played, then a 60 token, you can get by with one of those. Just remember, if you do the 60 or 65 token, you're not going to be able to go back and play the story at all. You're stuck with whatever generic choices they made for you.
Larry, what do you say?
Okay, I'm going to disagree with both of those guys.
Oh,
No.
an argument. I didn't expect that.
Okay.
And this is, and what I would say actually is, if you're a brand new player, I would suggest starting at KOTET. Make us
Wow.
take that 60 token, start at KOTET. And the reason why I say that is not because I don't think the original game is worth it or anything like that. I do think it's the core game is absolutely worth it. But I think that if you start from the very beginning and you try to go all the way to the end, that it's going to seem like you're reaching out. Like it's a great distance between level 1 and level 70 at this point. So the best thing to do, so it feels like you're still accomplishing something and that you're getting somewhere, is get that first character to 70. Get it through KOTET and the Eternal Throne. I don't suggest that you start with level 65. Definitely do not do that, because you'll be caught in the middle of a story and you won't understand what the heck's going on at all. But start at 60. You'll have enough of the backstory information given to you through exposition and whatnot, so that you understand where you're coming from, and then you can complete that story, and it will feel awesome, because it is actually one of the best stories that Bioware has ever written. And then you can go back once you've done that, and you're now enjoying the game and understanding what it's all about. You can go back and see almost like prequels and see where everybody came from.
Interesting.
That's a point of
Wait,
view
is-
about the prequels that I never thought about.
Is Jar Jar in it? I didn't know if you can go back.
Yeah.
What
Yes,
do you
Jar
think,
Jar
Jess?
is in, Jar Jar is in it. His name is Gult.
Good one.
What do you think, Jess? Do you recommend level 1 or 60 or 65?
Well, at first I would have said JT said everything that needs to be said on this topic, and he nailed everything. But then Larry actually had a really interesting perspective that I hadn't considered. My first love in this game is the origin game. I think you can't do better than to have an individually, professionally voiced acted story that's written for you, and like that you're involved in, and you're like a character in a movie, and it's your own unique journey. And to me, there's nothing that's going to ever stand up to the origin game. And what I mean by that is like starting at 1 and doing all your class stories, exploring all of the missions on the planet, getting to know those companions as they're introduced to you one at a time, and forming a team for the very first time meeting these people. To me, that's the magic of SWTOR. On the other hand, sometimes people, gamers, can be, a little bit shorter on the attention span, or not have as much time to play, and want to get in and do some like challenging content. And so in that case, getting in, on the start at 65 character, doing that story, and then starting to get the gear so that you can participate in the end game content, might be right for you if you're a gamer and you already know all those mechanics and you already have a lot of experience with MMOs. I think you really can't go wrong. But if you take that level 65 or that level 60 token and you never go back and experience those base class stories, you're missing like hundreds and hundreds of hours of really great writing and story and graphics and beautiful worlds.
Thank you.
I do agree that if you don't go back ever, that you're missing out. You will seriously be missing out, because those core stories are great, especially the Imperial Agent.
I've always tried to think from the point of a completely new player who doesn't know anything about the game. What would it be like if they started level 60? I mean, yes, it's a completely new story. There are elements explaining to you during chapter 1, 2, and 3 what happened before. But then again, you're missing so many cool references and cool history lessons and cool moments that you're supposed to remember from the past. I cannot force myself to forget about these things. Maybe if I didn't know about them, it will feel like a much quicker, just like Larry said, much quicker and easier experience to go through 1 to 16 chapters from Fallen Empire, and then eventually continue with Eternal Throne. But just like Jessie, I love the origin stories. Yes, like you guys have been mentioning in the chat, they are solo element in an MMO, but they are still the best solo element in this MMO. There is nothing better in Star Wars The Old Republic than the 8 original class stories. Maybe from personal perspective, the consular one is a little bit on the meh side.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Well, actually, the voice stories that you get with the class stories, kind of, in my opinion, when I've gone back to play other games, it's changed how I look at games. That voice story where you get the quest and everything voiced like that, I refuse to like read now in other games.
Me too.
It's like why am I having to read this? Oh, what? Nobody's going to talk to me? Forget this. I'm done with this. Go back to SWTOR.
I've
It
not
does
tried
spoil
many
you.
games, but yep, I had the exact same feeling when I attempted to go back to Lotro a few years ago, and having to read all the quests, no thanks.
I think that's why I couldn't get into any more MMOs. I tried, once I started playing this game, I discovered that I really love playing this style of game. So I've tried all of the MMOs that are, well, not all of them, but all of the main major MMOs that are out right now.
Yep.
I've tried in the last 5 years, and I've never been able to get absorbed in them the way that SWTOR does because of the richness of the acting. And it's more like a movie. Like you can't get that. I mean, nothing against those other games. They're all great and they have wonderful things about them, but they're never going to grab me the way SWTOR does because of that.
This is the reality. Maybe not everybody will admit or enjoy the fact that it's true, but this game tends to bring people back. I've had the unfortunate situations where many of my friends have left the game. I've seen my guilds disbanding or fading away, and I felt alone and lonely, and the game dying before my eyes. But then again, some of these people return. I don't know why. I've never left the game, so I don't know what exactly would personally drive me to return back to the game. But I have a lot of friends who have left the game and then came back. What do you think drives people back to this game? Is it just because no other game even come close to the storytelling aspect of SWTOR, or something else?
I'm going to have to agree with the storytelling. I mean, it really has the best storytelling out of any. I know some people will argue that the Secret World has really good storytelling, but it's not in the same universe. It's not, it's not the same. It's excellently written, excellently voice acted. There's nothing. I mean, the gameplay is also familiar. I think that's another thing that's kind of separated some of the other good games that are out there, the other good MMOs, I should say, that are out there, is that, if you take Secret World, for instance, it has a great story and it is really engaging, but the combat is so different than anything that we've seen before in any other kind of MMO that it's kind of off-putting and takes you out of that story. And same with like DC Universe Online, another amazing MMO, with all voice acted, by the way. It was actually the first. Yeah, DC Universe Online was actually the first fully voice acted MMO RPG. Sorry, SWTOR, you lose. But at any rate, the combat.
If I find that moment, it will be on the highlight on Twitter tomorrow.
Okay.
Sorry, Larry Everett, December 2016.
There you go. But at any rate, it's another game that was really, really good and has a difficult combat system, and so therefore doesn't draw people back as much as TOR does. It has a familiar combat system, and it has great storytelling and great voice acting, and really, I mean, that's enough to draw me back to any game.
Okay, since you've mentioned great about 17 times, let's go to the most trivial question and the reason why we're all gathered here tonight. Oh, that line, I love that. Tell me, what is the best thing about Star Wars The Old Republic? Please exclude the class stories and the voiceover. Pick something else so we can have diversity.
All right.
Anything. Okay.
I have to think about
You
it.
seem to be on top of things,
Actually, no,
Moxie.
no,
You
actually,
get to
I
go
have one.
first.
I like, and this is going to be an unpopular thing to say. I actually like GCXP. I like the Galactic Command System. I have been terribly unlucky in my RNG, but I've been having a ball getting my crates and opening them. And I love the fact that they're listening to us and have made changes that are coming in the end of January.
So
Are you
the
crouching
reason that they
behind
have-
your sniper shield right now? Because I
So they
feel
have-
like a snowball coming to you.
So the reason that they have loot crates inside of loot crates, it's all your fault. Is that what you're saying?
I guess so. I mean, here's the thing. I like the fact that anybody can now progress and get gear. You don't, and now granted, it's not a guarantee, but they can do it. But that's more than they had 6 months ago. 6 months ago, if you wanted top tier gear, you had to go in and do nightmare content or do do the priority op. So now you don't even need to step foot in an operation. If you solely liked PvP, you can get endgame gear. If you solely like to do GSF, you can get endgame gear. I like that model. I like the fact they've changed it now so that there's, if you've, I've gotten 113 crates on my Merc, and I've gotten 3
how
pieces
many?
of armor. 113.
You got
Oh.
3 pieces of armor out of 113.
3 pieces of set piece armor. So
Wow.
obviously, I'm loving the changes that are coming. So I like the combination of it. So there you have it. I said it. I'm a Galactic Command lover, and not afraid to say it.
And out and proud.
Out
That's
and proud.
right.
Okay,
So I need
then.
I need one of those silicone wristbands now.
Yeah, you XP on the wristband.
Jesse.
I think that since you said we couldn't talk about the voice acting in the story, so I won't. But I would say I have always loved flashpoints in this game. To me, they're the perfect combination of something that's group content and still social. They have long cutscenes in them, especially the first ones, Estalus and Black Talon, have like really good story and lots of conversations and then fighting, and you know what you're doing and what your objectives are. You're all fighting together. We used to use balance groups. Now they have the tactical mode, which I'm not quite as much of a fan of. But I like to get together with guildmates, and I've met a lot of really cool people in pugs in flashpoints, probably more so than operations. I've found great people in pugs that have then ended up joining the guild or become friends with and played more with. And I think it's a good way to meet people in the game and get into some group content and but it's not a huge commitment. So I'm going to go with flashpoints.
You didn't mention, but I know that from personal experience and because guys have told me, you're one of the very few people probably still playing the game that never hits a spacebar. Why is that?
Well, because of that
Even
thing
if
I'm
you've
not allowed
seen
to talk
the
about.
story before?
Yes, because to me, the beauty of this game is to take it the way that it was created and developed and designed for us. Like, it's this beautiful tapestry that's been woven for us with story and character and nuances. There's different little jokes, and you might not get it the first time through, or references. And now that I've played this other character, now I know what they mean when they say this. Or it took me a really long time to figure out that the Black Talon droid was probably masterminding the whole thing. And like, it just maybe I'm just a slow learner, so I need to see things multiple times, but I don't get sick of it. And then you're with different people, and they pick different conversation options, so you get to see, how is a smuggler going to give that smart aleck line, and how is this captain going to respond to it, and are they going to kill the guy, or I just enjoy the dynamic, and it can be a different game every time you go through, especially if you're going through with different people and how they play. So that's why I never spacebar ever, never, ever.
Unless we
About
make her.
this, I truly envy you. I really want to be able to stay through the conversations, but sometimes, unfortunately, I do get bored.
Yeah.
Let's hear from you, Larry, before you fall apart, because I see your character is attempting to do something.
What are you
What is your
about?
best memory about Star Wars: The Old Republic? What is your best part about the game, without stories and voiceovers?
Without story and voiceovers.
It can be anything: event, flashpoint, content, character, outfit.
I am
something
going,
you've done.
I'm going to. Yeah, So honestly, and I mean this in all sincerity, this isn't just PR speak or whatever, but I think that Star Wars: The Old Republic has one of the best communities that any game that I've been a part of has ever had. I mean, ESO has a pretty decent community.
Have you ever listened to general chat?
Not on Harbinger. I turned that off. but I do think, I mean, for instance, I mean, I've seen other communities that have popped up, especially like, let's say the WoW community or something along that line, where they have a bunch of podcasts and a bunch of bloggers, and they'll be at odds with each other and feuding all the time. And as a general rule, the podcast community and the blogger community for Star Wars: The Old Republic have always attempted to encourage each other, by showing up on each other's podcasts and taking part in research for other blogs and those kinds of things. And it's more of it's making the community the best it can be. At least the leaders in the community have that kind of focus, and I think that's always been a really great thing about this particular community that doesn't necessarily exist in other communities. And one of the if I can go on a little bit of a tangent, Stephen Reed, who was the community manager when the game started,
I do miss that guy.
He had said, and I like him a lot, but he said something. He said something that I think
he wasn't very good at his job, or he wasn't allowed to do it. But I really liked him. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
It's all right. It's all right. He said something that was really interesting that proved to be absolutely false, in my opinion. He said he was talking about the different websites that were there, and he said that in 6 months or so, many of these websites are going to fall off, which that was true. However, he also said that in order to survive or in order to grow, he said that the different fan sites are going to have to find their own niche and really kind of focus on their own one thing if they want to survive. And the thing is, has turned out, as far as TOR is concerned, to be absolutely untrue. Because people have focused on, from my perspective, they focused on the player of that particular podcast, or the players of that particular podcaster or YouTube channel or something along that line. Instead of focusing on the actual content itself, it's become about the community and what that person brings to the community and the different perspectives and things along that line. Even though, for the most part, Passionately Casual talks about the same thing as Bad Feeling Podcast, but it's this different perspectives that people have been able to bring in, this kind of thing that the community has, that I don't think other communities have really embraced as much as the Star Wars: The Old Republic community has.
It does feel, I really agree with you that it really does feel like family and people supporting each other. It doesn't, I mean, every once in a while, of course, there's stuff that dusts up, but mostly it's not like a rivalry between content providers in this game. Like, I feel like everybody has these great things to offer to the community, and like how great if we can share them with each other and like make this game strong and healthy and have people having fun. And like, it's not, I don't feel like most of the people are in it for clicks or whatever. Like, I think people just want to participate, and I think that's why we have such a good sort of community like that. So your points are really well taken.
It's because everybody tried harder.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys realize, but since I'm actually hosting these things, I've just realized I never ever managed to complete a live special event for the time that I planned it for. For example, I said this would be 1 hour. My OBS says 1 hour 40 right now. And I still haven't asked you the final most important question, even though we kind of doubled into that a little bit because you mentioned the community. But let's go over it again. Final and biggest question. What is the reason why you are all still here playing and enjoying this game? Is it the community? Is it the story? Is it the cool engine?
It's totally Hero Engine.
It's the Hero Engine for the win.
is why I'm still here. Yeah.
You need to feel challenged. Your
That's
PC
right.
needs to be
It's totally
tormented
what it
every
is.
single day. And no other game is even coming closer to this.
Right. I don't think any game has challenged my GPU the same way that Star Wars has.
Okay?
Well, no, for a serious answer though, and this is unfortunately the truth, and I know it's because it's Star Wars. No other MMO is doing Star Wars, and no other game that is live right now has done Star Wars the same way that that Bioware has done Star Wars. And so yeah, that's why I'm here, is because
It is
of
the
that lore,
one
because
single most important undeniable fact. Yes, it is Star Wars. Many
Yeah.
people have asked me through the years, if it wasn't a Star Wars game or a Star Wars MMO, will you still be playing it? And I really don't have an answer to that. I don't know.
I don't either.
The
I
game
can't-
part, the gameplay, the mechanics from the content, the PvE and the PvP content, the outfits and everything else, this is all coming second, third, 15th, 30th, and so on. The single most important fact for me is that it is a Star Wars game, and I need to have a Star Wars game in my free time.
I agree with you 100%. And yeah, I wouldn't. Now, I'm not saying that all these other things that the game has, like, yeah, if it was a really terrible Star Wars game, let's say like the Clone Wars semi MMO that was out a while ago, I would not be playing it.
That's a good point, actually. Battlefront, for example, it's not a terrible game.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good one. I don't know if it's because it was released as a half game at the full price and I wasn't able to afford it, or maybe I refused to pay double the price for one game and wait for it to be expanded throughout the next year until I receive a full game. For one of these reasons, or maybe a different, completely new reason that I haven't really found out, I never managed to enjoy Battlefront. Maybe because my days of playing first-person shooter are far behind me with Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament 2, I believe. So yeah, that's what, 10, 15 years in the past? And I couldn't bring myself to enjoy that game for one reason or another. So yeah, it's not exactly that every Star Wars game must be on my calendar and I must be playing it because it's Star Wars. So there is something that draws me into Star Wars The Old Republic, and there is something that never allowed me to leave. A huge portion of that, of course, is the community, part of which I am proud to be. And another big reason is because my channel has grown up, maybe not as a big channel in terms of YouTube big channel, but I consider it to be a relatively big and important channel within my own community and within the Star Wars The Old Republic community. I do receive enough recognition. I'm really, really proud with the latest, I call it a Christmas gift, but it's not exactly a Christmas gift that Daring DePaul made for me. Thanks to you, Jessie, and thanks to Extra Life, of course. And these things really keep pushing me forward. Any of you guys want to add anything or ask anything for the final part before we close and before I get to the opening of that giant box?
I have to say that the main reason I've stuck around is our guild. We have a terrific group of people that I've been fortunate enough to be a member of and be a leader in, and you know, we kind of, there's been chats in I've been following your YouTube chat here, Vulkk. Got into a little spirited discussion with Ricky Williams about content and stuff, and ultimately, content is what you make it. We, you know, sure, there has been a lack of endgame new stuff in SWTOR, but we Oh, look at that, JT. The light side won again.
Okay.
We make our own events, like you said, for the Extra Life. We host game shows. We host hide and seeks. We do pod races. We do our own thing to kind of make the game fun for us, and that's what I think has made it so good for me. Is being part of a community that's willing to try to create a community and content and fun things for everyone to do. So there.
It's really nice that you brought up the guild element. We didn't really mention the social element called guilding in this game, even though Bioware never really expanded it as much as we hoped for, or as much as they attempted to promise us in 2011, 2012.
What? You talking the guild conference? What?
Yeah.
What was
The
that?
guild conference, the guild calendar, the guild perks. They actually introduced those XP boosts, and what was the other one? The legacy XP boost, but nothing beyond that really.
Yeah.
A guild calendar
Anyway.
would have been nice. They expanded the guild window, the user interface for the guild window, so that's really nice. Everybody can see that my legacy name is actually not very Star Warsy, but who cares?
Yeah. I was going to have to say the last couple of questions, I've been like sitting here and it's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You know, they took about the flashpoints and about the community, which all are true. I have to say, I was just giving my off the air, like ditto kind of things on that. And I think that's one of the reasons, you know, sticking around in this game. I mean, if it was, and I know there's a lot of elements you can do completely solo, but if this game I was playing like completely by myself, I don't think I'd have stuck around for 5 years. There's just no way. I mean, as good as a game, and I like it, the fact that Star Wars, if I didn't have the guild and the community, the SWTOR community, as far as from the podcasters, the bloggers, and everybody, the streamers, everybody like that, I would have probably moved on and gone another game entirely than this. But I think for whatever it is, and I think it's more probably a combination of a lot of things. That this game has got something that I definitely want to stick around. And, you know, yes, it has bad things, but, you know, hey, they're hoping to try harder and make things better for the game. And I keep crossing my fingers the best I can and hope for the best. And I think that's all we can do. But for right now, I'm still on SWTOR.
Oh, that's a really strong point. Let's make it the final one. I would like to say a huge thanks to all of you four who agreed to join me in the middle of your day. I don't know how many of you were busy working or doing something else. I'm really grateful that you found these, unfortunately now closing to 2 hours, even though I asked for only 1. But you have helped me a lot, hopefully make this live stream and live event special. Usually for an anniversary event, people are expected to do a giveaway. I'm not doing one for many different reasons. I don't want the giveaway to be the driving point. I would really like to thank all of the, 620-ish people who stopped by the live stream for these 1 hour and 50 minutes. You guys helped us make this event fun and entertaining. I tried to come up with as many interesting questions for my co-hosts. I hope that we had fun and interesting discussion. And we all believe that we presented all the best parts and the worst parts about the game. Surely, you might come up with something that we may have missed or something that you don't agree with in our discussion. So please be sure to leave that in the comment below. Because right now you're watching live, and even though not all of the chat was visible on the screen, I've done my best to follow absolutely everything, the arguments, the opinions, the suggestions, the questions. Thank you very much for those. Leave your opinion down below in the comment section when I post this as a normal standalone video, and check below in the description for links to Massively OP, Passionately Casual, Corellian Run, and all of the personal accounts to these 4 people who agreed to be my co-host today. Thank you, JT, thank you, Moxie, thank you, Larry, and thank you, Jessie.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Vulkk.
Wait, we don't get to stay for the box opening?
Oh, yeah, what is it?
Of course you do, but if you want to watch it, you have to switch to the stream. Because I'm
I
going
have
to
the
mute
stream
my
up.
microphone.
I'm waiting. What's in the box?
He's
Well,
excited.
I do have to take off. So thanks very much for having me. And
Bye, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
See you guys later.
Later.
Bye.
And there it is, the giant box. Now let me show it one more time. Oh crap, it doesn't fit into the camera. Move a little bit back.
You need to back
Can you
up.
hear me behind this? It's that thin.
Yes.
And
Yes,
it's
we can
that
hear you.
wide. Yes, let me see now. I don't have a knife handy. This, again, for those of you who don't know, is a secret. Is it a Christmas present, Jessie, or something else? I want to say it's a Christmas present.
It's a Christmas present.
All right, it's a secret Christmas present, traveled all around the world from the USA over here to Bulgaria in the past 3 weeks. Because deliveries here through the Bulgarian customs is never easy, especially when it comes from outside the European Union. Oh, I think I've managed to crack this. So in case you haven't heard it, it does make that sound. Feels like there are many pieces inside, which kind of gives me a hint what it might be.
Sounds like you already broke it.
No, but I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't really have a setup very friendly for unboxing, even though I've wanted to do unboxings for those personal kind of vlog series that I usually do very rarely. But since I still haven't managed to find money for a real camera, I'm still using my webcam. I don't have a tripod or anything to attempt to use my cell phone because my new phone, who actually I bought yesterday, congratulations to myself, it does have a very decent camera, much better than the webcam at least, but I need to make it stable to be able to do something with it. So for now, Vulkk is not able to do real unboxing, but he's really struggling right now trying to open the damn box. Let me find a knife. I'll be back in a moment.
Boy, you must have secured that pretty tightly. And there's the silence.
Yeah, there's the silence. That's our guild chat. They think it's a jet ski.
Is that a Jess ski?
A jet ski. Oh.
Man, you guys are bad.
What were you talking about? Are you trashing my skills?
No, we were. Our
should
guild
be.
chat is trying to figure out what's in the package, and somebody said it's a jet ski, and I said no, it's a Jess ski.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, at this point, actually, I'm really happy you don't get to see what exactly I'm doing below the camera here, because it's a little bit embarrassing at how crappy I am at opening things. Plus, I don't know really what's inside, and I'm trying not to damage anything, even though we are not supposed to be able to damage
Well,
it
you're
by
like-
opening the
You're like an
outside
architect
box.
or something in real life, right?
Are
So
you
you're
trying
better
to embarrass
building
me
things
more?
than
Oh,
destroying
okay,
them, right?
that makes sense, yes. Okay, you are actually defending my poor skills in this case.
Right.
Oh, there we go.
That didn't sound good.
I see this knife going towards his body on the stream.
Yeah, that's
Thanks to
that is
the delay.
that doesn't look safe.
Looks like he's carving a
Look
a
at
hunk
this.
of meat off something.
Lego. Thank you. Wow. You know how long it's been since I've had Star Wars Lego in my life? Probably about 15 years, maybe more. Holy crap. It's not just Lego. It's a SWTOR Lego.
Ooh.
Man, I didn't even know this exists. I mean, this model, I've seen others 5 years ago.
Nobody knows it exists because it's out of. They don't make them
Circulation.
Yeah.
Man, okay, let's do a quick overview of the box just in case someone cares what's on the outside. Lego always makes cool boxes. Maybe that's what attracts the kids. Mom, buy this for me. Dad, I want that. Now, from this point on, I'll have to be really careful because that box must never be damaged. There is more Scotch tape here.
Wait, you're gonna open the box?
Of
He has to
course
build
I am.
it, right?
If
How
I
else
could, I
is he
would
gonna
build
put it
but-
together?
Well,
See,
Is
that's
that a little? Is that a Malgus on there that I
I'm
saw?
not actually going.
Whoa, it is a
Uh,
Malgus.
Where?
There's a figure
Look
with
the
it.
box?
on the side. On the side.
It is actually a Malgus, a Seed Trooper, and another Seed Trooper.
Ooh,
That's awesome, man. Malgus.
wow, Malgus for
She
the
knows
win.
what I like.
Yes, I do.
It's actually one of the few drawbacks, one of the few bad things that resulted in me having a green screen. I don't get to display my Malguses and my Vaders behind me anymore. I've been trying to come up with an idea of how to actually make them appear, but I haven't been able to find a decent way. Because I'm really, really proud. I have a big Malgus and a small Malgus. I have a big Vader and a small Vader. And these are actually probably one of the very few remaining Star Wars toys that I still have. I've never had a Lego Star Wars ship. I've had a... can't even remember. I think it was something like an 8080, but not really, because it was a very, very old Lego set from 15 years ago. And unfortunately, I've lost it somewhere when I was moving house 8 years ago.
Well, Vulkk, you'll have to do a stream where you assemble it.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. Live stream assembling that 2 days straight.
Excellent. All right, well, I actually need to bow out as well. So thank you, Vulkk, for having me.
Thank you very much for joining me, Mox, today for you.
Yeah, I need to head out also, Vulkk.
Bye, stream. Bye,
Yep.
chat.
Want to wish everybody there in your stream and you, Vulkk, a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And
I'm sure that I'll
also,
get to speak and hear at least you guys at least one more time, hopefully before
Yep.
Christmas. But in case we don't see or hear each other, Merry Christmas to you too.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
same
Oh,
to you
actually,
all.
we're doing our European tour on the 30th.
Oh, that's right.
You're what?
We're actually, me and Mox are doing a server transfer for a day, and we're going to the Red Eclipse. And we're going to join Ravenel, and we're going to run some uprisings. So we're going to live stream that. So
Oh, that's nice. Where are you live streaming that?
it's going to be on the Carillion Radio Twitch channel. So
Oh, nice. Okay. I get notifications already, so I don't need to ask when, and how.
yep.
Oh, that's
All right,
fantastic.
bye.
I really need to build this tonight.
Yeah, definitely videotape that
I
when
see
you
the
build it, 'cause
Malgus
I wanna
head
see that.
already, or it looks like a Malgus. Oh, yes. It must be a Malgus head. I don't know if I can show... Ah! It disappeared. Can you see
Take care,
this?
chat. Take care, Vulkk.
Bye-bye. This thing looks like a Malgus head, doesn't it? I think it is. Okay, I'm gonna play like a small kid tonight because I don't know if I deserve it, but I would like to think I do. Thank you very much, Jessie, for this wonderful gift. You definitely managed to surprise me, even though you mentioned you're a Lego freak, and I probably should have expected that. Originally, I thought it would be a puzzle, but it's actually Lego. Damn awesome. That thing must find a place to be to be visible somewhere. Oh, and I get a chance, an opportunity to use my new phone camera to make a million pictures and share them tomorrow. So yes, guys, expect a lot of spam. Maybe not tomorrow, depends if I manage to build it tonight or maybe if I struggle too much. How many pieces does that set have?
Like 1,000, I think.
It should say that somewhere. What is that 9-14? What does that mean?
No, I think that's just a model number or something.
Okay.
It should say it on the front of the box, how many pieces. I think it's around 1,000.
Holy crap, that's a lot. Look at how detailed. Okay, I can only display the box right now, but look at how detailed this thing is. Wow. And on the back, it looks... Yeah, Malgus is awesome. Alright, I won't use you anymore, guys. Once again, for the last time. Maybe not for the last. I'll probably mention it a few more times. If you were living close to me, JC, you would find a bunch of flowers tomorrow at your doorstep maybe. But unfortunately, I don't have a way to send anything to the USA right now. Thank you very much for this wonderful gift. I'm really, really happy with it, and it's really fantastic. And thank you everybody for joining the live stream tonight. Leave your opinion below. Don't forget to throw in the like button if you have enjoyed the show. If you haven't, feel free to do the dislike, but at least explain to me what was wrong with it. See you next time. Bye bye. And to those of you who don't stop by my videos in the future few days, have a lovely Christmas and a very happy holiday season.
Merry Christmas.